She's grown up right in front of you. She isn't in high school yet, but she is on her way to junior high. 7th grade, what a joy. She's 13 years old. But wait, did you know that in 33 states in the United States, she can be married to an adult male? Is your state one of them? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Dr. Debbie Lassiter, the Executive Director and co-founder of the Convergence Resource Center, and I'm here with my colleague.
Hi, I'm Carla McKeever, co-founder and CFO of the Convergence Resource Center, and welcome to the conversation.
Oh. Brides. Did you know that child marriage is legal in 33 states in the United States? That means that a 13-year-old could be married to a 47-year-old man, and it would be legal in the United States. Isn't that frightening? It's frightening to me because I'm thinking about a 13-year-old with a 47. We'd be calling him a pedophile otherwise, right?
We would be.
But in some states, he'd be her husband, and that'd be just fine. Now, there are actually 3 ways that this can happen. One of them is through parental consent. The parent, no matter what the state of mind of the parent, no matter what kind of life the parent is living, if the parent has legal custody of the child, the parent can give consent. Child has nothing to say about it, and they can be married to an adult person. You want to talk about the other one, the judicial approval?
The judicial approval is, in the context of child brides, is the legal mechanism that allows a minor, typically under the age of 18, to marry with the permission of a judge.
Yeah.
Bypassing age requirements.
Yes. So the judge could say, hey, it's okay. And if the judge says it's okay in that state, that can happen. And this is really interesting because this one is one of those laws that it's different in each state.
I was going to say, is it just one particular, I know there's a group that no matter what, they cannot marry.
That's federal law.
Yeah. Because we're state run. We were set up to be a state run country.
Yeah.
That's why we have so many different laws. And if you go from here, or if you go to Georgia, it's a different law.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I think it's so confusing for all of us, because a lot of us really don't even understand that we're a state-run country.
Yeah.
But, they're trying to change that too.
There are some federal laws that are across the board federal. But then there are some that are state. Now, in this judicial approval, there are 4 things they take into consideration. One is the maturity and understanding of the minor. So the minor could be 12, but the judge could say, well, this minor thinks like a 30-year-old, so it's okay for her to marry this 45-year-old man. She has the maturity to be able to do it. The other one is whether or not the minor is entering into the marriage voluntarily. Now, this is tricky because how do you know? If the parent or someone is telling the child that they have to do it, how do we know it's involuntary? I don't know how we would prove that one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, when we were kids, you did what your parents told you to do. There was no making a decision or having a vote about it, right? And then the other one is the age difference between the parties. And this is supposed to be to prevent predatory behavior, because this was originally in place because of those instances where you got this 16-year-old that's in love with an 18-year-old. If they do anything, it's statutory rape in most states, right? So this was a way around that for them to be close in age and be able to get married if she was still under 18 or he was still under 18. Problem being, however, though, nobody pays attention to that part, and that part does not come into play in parental consent. That only comes into place when it's judicial, right? So in parental consent, your mother or your father, let's just say your parents are strung out on heroin. I mean, this 45-year-old man wants to marry their 13-year-old daughter. Those parents could give consent and nobody can question it, right?
Right.
And that child then has gone off to that 45-year-old man. And we know that there are cases that we have seen where parents or caregivers have sold or given a child to a drug dealer to make sure that they get their drugs, right?
Right.
Well, in this kind of situation, if it was one of those marriage situations and nobody knew the parent or guardian or whoever was under some other kind of influence, there goes that child, right? And it's all legal. If that doesn't scare you, it should. It scares me.
Well, it's so unfortunate because I was reading an article. CNN had done some type of investigation on child brides, and they talked to like 3 different young ladies, and what happened to them. And there's so many different scenarios, on how it happens. Some of it can, it's financial. It always ends up being
about the money.
About the money, right? Always ends up being about the money. But what happens too is that they end up getting abused.
Of course.
And mistreated.
This gets deeper,
with
though.
no protection.
None. None. But this gets deeper, though. The other special circumstance is if the person is pregnant or if there's a threat of violence. Now, these are supposed to be things that the judicial is supposed to be able to see and stop. But the parental consent doesn't have to abide by these. The parental consent doesn't have to take any. If the parent signs the paper, and this is in each state, again, having their own, but in the 33 where it's legal, and that's a lot. In the 33, that's over half the states in the United States, it is legal. But like I said, what they originally were trying to do was make it, there was a couple years apart and they're in love, but that's not what's happening. In a lot of places and a lot of times, the person is way, way older. But the third one is emancipation, and that is that legal process where the child has declared, emancipation from their parents. So now they're making their own decisions.
Right.
Their own decisions. But as we continue to talk about child brides, there are some states where it is completely banned. And why don't you just call out a couple of those states where no matter what, no parental consent, no judicial, if they're under age, they cannot be married off to an adult. What are some of the states where that is?
Where that, Well, I was looking at it, I was like, was Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Maine, Massachusetts. I really like that I'm seeing Michigan and Minnesota. I don't see Wisconsin.
Hold on now.
I know, it's on the other end.
But Delaware was first in 2018.
Back in 20, in 20, it was.
In 2018, they've been fighting this a long time.
That's not even a long time ago.
Oh, no, because prior to that, it was just free-for-all, right? But Delaware was the very first state that said, no way, no how are we doing this. But then we get to those states. Well, child marriage is still legal. And unfortunately for all of us, Wisconsin is one of those states. Now, let me clarify. Some states where it's legal, there is no minimum age. In other words, it doesn't matter how young your child is, you could marry them off to someone.
Okay.
In other states where it's legal, they have to be a certain age. Okay. And then they have to have the parental consent in most of these states. So in Wisconsin, unless the law has changed since the last time I read it, the person has to be at least 16 years old. Now, unfortunately, that still doesn't give me a lot of comfort.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Marriage is serious business. And what's really, really, one of the things that's really scary about this is at 16 years old, in these situations, they cannot file for a divorce because they're too young to bring a case in adult court.
Wow. I can't imagine that you can't even file for a divorce. I've been abused, I've been mistreated, and I was reading, when I was reading that other article from CNN, it's like they had to move from her mother's house to his house with his parents, and his parents were not nice.
Yeah.
It kind of goes all the way to me, like a lot of different things, like labor trafficking. I mean, we're going to talk about that, but it's like all of these different things, and they can't get out of it.
Right.
It's like, what do you...
They can't, until they become adults, then they have some kind of legal standing. But prior to that, they don't. And There is an organization though called called Unchained at Last, and they attack this. They were the ones who really went forward and had people with some relentless advocacy saying, "Hey, child marriage is not right. Child brides are not right." And they were the ones who kind of helped push Delaware ahead in doing it. Followed by Delaware. Delaware was American Samoa, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. And Pennsylvania and Minnesota just in 2020.
I'm hoping that you would say, but this is just like a couple years back.
Just a couple years back.
That's crazy.
A little before COVID, right? A little before COVID. And it's a scary situation because you see no way out for the child. That is still a child, and there's no way out. So can you imagine you 14 years old waking up next to your 45-year-old husband, and it's illegal?
And we're just talking about the United States. A lot of these things go on in different countries as well.
Yep, it's true.
And there's a stigma that goes along with that. And even here, it's like if someone knows, it is a stigma. And people saying things, it's just all encompassed bad.
It is. It's not good. And in most states, in most instances, you got to be 18-year-old to do certain things. So you can get married at 14, but you can't have a drink. You can't go into a bar, but you can get married. You can get married, get pregnant, have children. Right? I think there's something wrong with that. The minimum age in Wisconsin that they can do this is 16.
Okay.
So at the age of 16, they can go to their parents and say, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I need you to sign this paper so I can get married." Or they can apply for the judicial, permission, and then the judge can make a ruling.
To me, how can a judge make a ruling when he doesn't even know you? Doesn't even know the
Well, they make rulings and they don't know you all the time.
I guess.
They read the paperwork, and that's kind of their job, right? To rule over things. But I guess for me, we need to really take another look at this one. I think that we need to take a look at this one. I think even 16 is too young. There's some 30-year-olds that I think are too young to get married. So 16, it's too young. And if you can just imagine what could be going through that 13 or 14-year-old's mind. I am trapped. I am stuck here, and I have no way out because it's legal.
Right.
It's legal. Child brides. Who would have thought? In the United States, in 33 states, and in some form or fashion, it is still legal.
And what about like pedophiles? Are they even, they go on these different sites and look at things and...
Well, I'm sure they're not going, "Hey, I want to marry your daughter, I'm a pedophile."
No, they're not.
No, they're going to wine and dine them, and I'm in love, and, they're going to do the things they got to do to convince the kids and the families, if it's even necessary. Because depending on the state of mind of the parents, it may not be necessary to do any of that.
Wow.
And we hate to think like that, but that's the facts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And who is that child? She's still going to high school, or she could still be in junior high. Unfortunately, she might even be able to be in grade school in some states.
Right.
Because there is no age limit in some states. So she could be going to school with your little girl. They don't play hopscotch or jump rope anymore.
No.
But they could be playing whatever games kids play today. And your girl's going home to her family and her pets and her friends, and this child's going home to cook dinner and do her wifely duties.
But there are even instances where they don't even let them finish their education.
That's true too.
They just keep them in the house and they can't go out. And they can only do what they're told to do. And if they don't do what they're told to do,
there's consequences.
There's consequences for that.
But there used to be a time, and you probably remember this, that if you didn't come to school, the school called your house. So-and-so's not in school today. I don't think they do that anymore. I don't think they have time or the means or the resources to do that today. but there used to be checks and balances in school. And we've gotten away from some of those things that we need to get back to. You know, you run across a child that hasn't been to school in a month, you know, there's a problem, in my opinion. But, you know,
Well, it's a big problem.
that's a big problem.
It's a big problem on, well, a couple of our systems are a little
kind of
broken.
messed up.
Yes.
But folks, we want to let you know, if you want more information on the child brides, you can just look up child brides on the internet. You look up everything else, and you can see if your state is on there as a state that allows child brides. And for clarification, that means that children are marrying people, usually adults, usually way older than them. Okay, for those of you who missed what it actually is. So if you want to do something about it, you might want to talk to the legislators, because it's illegal, and it is illegal in Wisconsin. If they're at least 16 or 17 years old, they can petition to marry someone that's older than them, usually. We don't see a lot of cases of the child brides where two children are marrying each other. It's always a younger person marrying someone older. So it's not like, oh, they're marrying each other and they're going to be together for life, even though that happens in some countries and in some cultures. That's not what we're seeing here. And all of the research that we did here and saw this, it's usually a very young girl marrying a much older man. I'm sure there are cases of the boys being married off at those younger ages, but we didn't see a lot of that. What we saw really usually is like a young girl, preteen girl, many times, being married to a much older man. Well, Carla, how can they keep in touch with us?
They can keep in touch with us by going to our website. First off, www.convergenceresource.org. Or if you want to contact us or send us a note, please do CRC contact us at convergenceresource.org.
Yes.
So those are two different ways, but we don't want them to forget about Triumph Rising on Joy 1340. So we want to make sure that you tune in to the radio show that you do, so they can even hear more about child brides or any other subjects. And also, when you go to our website, subscribe to our newsletter.
Yes, yes. Which should be coming out. I think the July one just came out. And so if you missed it, you can send that email to CRC Contact Us and ask for the one you missed, and then also get on the newsletter so you don't miss any more.
Right.
Right?
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We want to thank you guys. We got up to 500 views, so let's keep it going. Yeah, so we're getting up there. All right, well, I guess that's going to be a wrap for us, and we just want to let you know that we're going to keep bringing up these subjects to you that everybody's not talking about, or people talked about them for a while and forgot about them. We're going to bring some of them back up. So thank you so much for tuning in to CRC, The Conversation.
The Convergence Resource Center provides comprehensive support services to women rebuilding their lives after trauma, with a focused emphasis on survivors of human trafficking and justice-involved women. Convergence Resource Center supports women on their journey of healing and restoration after trauma, with a special focus on survivors of human trafficking and women impacted by the justice system. For more information about the Convergence Resource Center and how you can get involved, visit us online at www.convergenceresource.org.